Alright, so what's up everybody? It's wabaRaw, and I wanted to give you guys some of my thoughts on the upcoming subclasses for the next Path of Exile expansion, Ascendancy. Yeah, there will be a total of 19 subclasses, 3 for each class, except for the Scion, which will have 1. You will get 2 Ascendancy passive points after completing Izaro's Labyrinth in each difficulty in the game. And here we have the one of the Shadow subclasses, the Saboteur. The Saboteur. Oh man, the Saboteur. So before we talk about this subclass, I want to state that I do not think this subclass should be what makes trappers or miners like any good. I don't think this is what should make them work in the game. I think they need an overhaul in general, especially miners. Ever since the this isn't about miners, but ever since the Prolif nerf, Fire Trap is just like it's a leveling spec, and it was really fun. I myself played trappers in multiple games, from Diablo 2 to Guild Wars, and yeah, just I want to look at this tree as if miners and trappers are actually good. It's difficult, but I want to do that. So cough. First up, we have Bomb Specialist. Now, Bomb Specialist allows you to set up an additional trap and an additional remote mine, and you gain 8% increased damage for each trap and 4% increased area of effect for each mine. So this seems okay. You get extra damage when you have more traps out. It's pretty straightforward. Maybe you could stack traps, or not maybe. You could stack your traps to maximize your damage on a single target, but I do not like that this does not say it's a duration. I want a duration off of this. Like whenever you throw a trap, you get percent damage, and increased damage for each trap for X amount of seconds. Because what happens when this only really works to get the maximum increased damage when they all go off at the same time, which ties into one of the next ones. But still, like, what if you do not take chain reaction? What if you do not make it to where all your traps go off at the same time? Then all of a sudden, say you line up 4 traps, the mob walks over the first one, 32% extra damage, right? 32% increased damage. Then it walks over the next one, it's 24% increased damage. Then it walks over the next one, it's 16. It just goes down, and I would really prefer a time duration on this. And this, goes for mines too. I have not played too many mine builds, but neither is anybody. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. So chain reaction. Now chain reaction, it gives you 20% increased cooldown recovery speed for throwing traps, 10% increased area of effect for trap skills, and when you trigger your traps, all the nearby traps trigger as well. So the first modifier, 20% increased cooldown recovery speed, that's fantastic. That is actually the biggest deal for trappers. I mean, like, that is something that it feels so limiting to just be waiting for your cooldown. And honestly, traps and not mines, but just traps, they don't offer enough utility to justify how long you have to wait. When you play a trapper, you're generally constantly always waiting for a trap cooldown. And I did this for a very long time. And honestly, the reason why I don't play traps anymore is simply because I would rather just keep smashing my keys. I'd rather keep casting spells. I would rather keep, shooting arrows. I'd rather keep whirlwinding. I'd rather keep doing all these things because it makes me feel like I'm doing more damage than I already am. So it doesn't feel great when you're waiting for cooldowns, especially when things aren't dying. When you're one-shotting things, kind of a different story. But when things aren't dying, it's Dan's game. That's what it is. When you're waiting for your cooldown and you're just like running around trying to kite, it's awkward. It doesn't feel great. Whatever. So and then the other part of this is, I think this is a little weird, the chain reaction part of this, I think, I don't know, actually, did I even write something about that? Oh, okay. No, yeah, all right. I'm sorry. I got a little off topic. I lost my train of thought there. But I can't actually think of a situation where I'd want all my traps to go off at once. And it's mostly because I don't know the radius, the range, right? Like, I don't know the radius that the traps will deal damage. So I can't think of a way that I would set up my traps, unless I knew the radius. If I knew the radius, then it's a different story, because then you can have a mob walk on one trap. You can have a walk on his bear trap, but then it also sets off your other traps that are, just far enough away. But why not just throw all the traps on top of each other? Why not do that? Whatever. We're moving on. We're moving on. So, Demolition Specialist. All right. Gain 20% increased mine speed for 4 seconds on detonation. 20% gain 20% increased mine damage for 4 seconds on detonation. And a 30% chance when placing mines to place an additional mine. All right. Cool. So, what I presume I have to do in order to capitalize on this is I have to place a mine. I have to detonate it. I get the damage. The mob that didn't die, I then run back up to and detonate again. Like, I do the same thing because the mine placement speed, remember that the mine placement speed is like, what you're supposed to use that. So you're going back up to the mob. And then on top of that, I really think that these should have different durations. I mean, them both being at 4 seconds means that I have to do both of these things within 4 seconds. 4 seconds it's not short, but it's not long enough to do this because, I have a feeling that, and unfortunately, and I apologize, a little ignorant to this, I haven't played too many mine specs in this game. I've played with them a little bit, but not nearly as much as I've played with trap builds. So there's a bit of ignorance in this understanding for me, but it just doesn't seem like that offers enough. And at least making the increased damage modifier on it last longer than the cast speed modifier or the placement speed modifier, that makes sense to me. But whatever. But maybe, just maybe, you get an extra mine when you place it, right? Pretty good. I don't really think that's worth it. I think I don't know. I mean, I think we should just give players a real incentive to being a mine, to using mines. If this was increased to 70% chance, that's a real incentive, because that, you might spec into it, you might find that it's terrible anyway, and you might abandon ship, but at least it gives people the incentive to do it. 30% just does not feel like enough for me. 30% is great when you're doing things, when you're doing a lot of actions, but 30% is not great when you're doing something every 5 seconds. And yeah, with this whole miner thing, I'm totally looking at you, Chasubo. I know you have your summon raging miners thing, which is pretty cool, but I don't know how this affects you. I would like your input on this, Chasubo. But we're going to be moving on. Now, Blinding Assault. You are immune to blind. Pretty cool. 10% chance to create a smog cloud. 10% chance to create a smoke cloud when hit. And a 10% chance to blind enemies on hit. Now, is this what's supposed to make mining and trapping a thing? Like, is this the defensive measure that is supposed to make all is well in the land of trapping and mining? Don't worry, I might blind them. Don't worry, I'm immune to blind. How does that even play into the playstyle of this? Of mining and trapping specifically? I'm aware, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the video, but there is some potential for other not trap or mine builds using this tree. But it's a very niche, small potential, and it's very edgy. So, it's an extremely small defensive measure that, while it gives you this whole shadowy, sneaky feel, it just takes up 2 passive points. It's just two ascendancy passive points, which are going to be like gold. So, yeah. So, but then we're gonna move on, because then we have Born in the Shadows. 30% increased damage against blinded enemies, 6% reduced damage taken from blinded enemies, and 50% increased blind duration. Right. So we have some synergies with Blinding Assault. Fantastic. Synergies are cool. Synergies make you feel good. We all like synergies. Almost all of us played Diablo 2, and you know what? I'm pretty sure when synergies came out for Diablo 2, all of our, pre-teen, or I was a teenager, I believe. Was I pre-teen? I don't know. All of us who played Diablo 2 when synergies came out, we were just like frothing at the mouth for it. So players love synergies, but this synergy is dependent on Blinding Assault, which is only a 10% chance to create a smoke cloud when hit. When hit, all right? When hit. You don't want to get hit. As a miner or trapper, you probably don't want to get hit, right? And then 10% chance to blind enemies on hit. This is what I suggest. You want to make this cool? Make Blinding Assault 100% chance to blind when you get hit, smoke cloud when you hit. Okay. A 100% chance to blind on hit. I think that would make this pretty straightforward. But I mean, why? Like, why this? The trappers and miners in Path of Exile need a kick in the pants, and this is not it. And honestly, the subclasses in Ascendancy are a kick in the pants in a lot of other builds. See Inevitable Judgment, or Juggernaut, or the Duelist Tree, like any of those. This is not that. But we have one more, and it is Explosives Expert. You gain 10% physical damage as extra fire damage. Damage penetrates 8% elemental resistance, and 10% reduced damage taken from traps and mines. So I have some real issues with this, along with the rest of it. It could have been really good, but honestly, most of the Ascendancy passives, they're easily as powerful, or they're easily as powerful stat-wise, or as effective as a lot of the support gems that we have. But this is not the case. You only get 10%. You only gain 10% gained extra physical damage. You only get an extra 10% gained damage as fire. Like that's nothing. That is a fourth or a fifth of an added fire gem. And then even the elemental penetration, that's only 8%. Why not make this 20%? Why isn't this 30% increased physical damage gained as extra fire damage and 20% elemental resistance? Like why? And I don't even want to talk about the 10% reduced damage taken from traps in my portion of it, because that just is there's a way you could there is a way you can take 100% reduced damage from traps and mines to not walk on them. Now, this might have an effect on Labyrinth traps, but I have a feeling it's not going to. I have a feeling they're going to be classified in a different way, but we'll see. I do not think this will work for that. If it does, cool, but I don't think it's good enough to sit there and be like, well, I'm going to go a Shadow Saboteur so I could get into the Labyrinth, because even if it does work, then you have to kill the boss. Like, this is not anything. But I mean, okay, so and what it really comes down to is, like, trappers have been heavily nerfed ever since the change to Proliv, and miners have only seen active play, like real active play, ever since the use of freeze mines. So I mean, this tree could have really been the kick in the pants that these trap and mine builds needed, but the only modifier in this whole tree that is cool and exciting, the way a lot of other Ascendancy passives are, is 20% increased cooldown recovery speed for throwing traps, and that might not even work the way I think it works. Like, that there's a slight possibility that doesn't work the way I want it to work. So I don't get it. Like, this tree is just like, now it would be interesting that before Ascendancy comes out, we have a massive trap and mine overhaul that makes it solid. And maybe for some reason the overhaul makes this good. I don't know. I don't want to say OP. I'm totally on board with the whole idea of not everything can be really good. You know, there has to be some bad things, right? But this is terrible. Like, this is not it's just not that good. It's just bad. This is awful. I'm kind of ranting right now. I'm ranting about this because trappers are close to my heart in action RPGs. I want to play a trapper. I do. That was the first build I really played in Path of Exile, was a fire trapper. And now I only use fire trap to level. Every once in a while I use lightning trap. Lightning trap is actually okay. But other than that, tell me if you see something here with this that I do not. Comment with some ideas to give this the kick in the pants that it needs. I mean, honestly, thinking about the subclass just makes me angry. And I didn't want it to go this direction, but it was so hard not to because it's lacking. Absolutely lacking. And yeah, so yeah, that's that. That's pretty much that. Yeah, sorry. You could tweet at me at wabaRaw, and you can catch me live at twitch.tv/wabaRaw, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for future Path of Exile, Ascendancy content, and whatever other content that I have due, or that I have coming up, because I have a lot coming. And yeah, go check out my other videos. So thanks, guys. Have a good one. See ya. Da 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 da.